In the IELTS Speaking Test Part 1, they will often ask you about your hometown. They will ask you where your hometown is, what the name of it is, and then they might say, can you tell me a little about your hometown? In this video, we're going to be looking at some vocabulary and some model answers to answer the question, tell me about your hometown. This is what rural looks like. Very green, not many buildings, and like a village or a town surrounded by green. Looks nice, doesn't it? Rural is the word. My hometown is in a rural area. The opposite of a rural area is urban. An urban area is full of buildings, lots of man-made structures, skyscrapers, roads, traffic, anything like a big city like this. My hometown is a city called Hanoi. It is a very urban area. Let's start with looking at some vocabulary and some sample answers to tell me about your hometown if you live in a rural area. The first word you can use is picturesque. Picturesque just means beautiful. It literally means it looks like a picture or it's like a picture. Picturesque. So when you get asked, tell me about your hometown, you can say I live in a very rural area, but it is very picturesque. Scenic. Another word you can use about a rural area is scenic. You can say it is a very picturesque and scenic place, and it just means the scenery is beautiful and there's a lot of things to see. You could say that a rural area is very calm and quiet, which means it's peaceful and there is not much going on, and it is a very small area with a nice, calm and peaceful vibe. Vibe is another good word. My hometown is in a very rural area with rolling hills and dirt roads. It's very scenic and picturesque. So let's have a look at a sample answer for the part 1 of the IELTS speaking task when the examiner asks you to tell me a little bit about your hometown and you're from a rural area using this vocabulary. Here we go on the screen. Tell me about your hometown. My hometown is in a very rural area in the south of England. It is extremely picturesque and very scenic. It has a very calm and peaceful vibe, and it has lots of rolling hills and dusty dirt roads. As you can see, I've added some adjectives in there as well. This is enough for an answer. Maybe you could also go on to talk about the people or the businesses, and we'll talk about that later in the video. Let's now look at if you live in an urban area. If you live in an urban area, it means you live in a built-up city. Some vocabulary to describe cities or urban areas are, it is busy, it is chaotic. You might say it's a very cosmopolitan part of the city. You could say there are many skyscrapers and it is full of lively bars and clubs. And it has a lot of public transport. You could even say what part of the city you live in. Imagine your city is a circle. You could have the middle, which is the inner city. You could have the next layer, which would be the residential area. And you could have outside the circle, which would be called the suburbs. Here it is on a diagram. So a sample answer would be when the examiner asks you in part 1, tell me about your hometown, and you live in an urban area, you can say, my hometown is a city, so it's an urban area in the north of Vietnam. It is extremely chaotic, but very cosmopolitan. I live in the residential area, but the public transport is great. It is easy to get to the inner city to visit the lively pubs and the bars. Let's look at some of the words and vocabulary that I used in this video, and I want to give you some definitions, some synonyms, and an example of how to say the words. The first one is picturesque, and it basically means it looks like a picture, or it could be a picture. A basic synonym of picturesque would be beautiful, and you can say, I come from a picturesque village, or I live near a picturesque lake. The second one is scenic, which basically means just a place of impressive natural beauty. It means charming or easy on the eye. And a way to use it would be, I live in a very scenic area full of mountains, lakes, rivers. Vibe, which came up in the video, just means a certain atmosphere or a feeling. A synonym could be mood, aura, or energy. And you can say, the place I come from has a very peaceful vibe, or the opposite would be, it has a very chaotic or cosmopolitan vibe. We're going to look at those words in a second. But vibe is a really good word to use in part one, actually in any of the speaking. Cosmopolitan basically means a place that has lots of people from different places, different countries, different areas, people of different races or religion. It basically, the synonyms would be global or international. So if you live in a city that's got lots of immigrants or people from all over the world, you can say it's a very cosmopolitan area. And finally, you can use chaotic. This means fast and confused and busy and hustling. The synonyms could be disordered or hectic. And you can say things like, the traffic is chaotic in rush hour in my city. Or you can say, the farmer's market is very chaotic in my rural village. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I have lots of these videos about vocabulary and part one. Check some out in the description. And I will see you soon. Smash those exams. Press the Smash Exams logo on your screen now to subscribe. And while you're here, why not check out one of these videos if you are practicing for your IELTS or you are preparing for your IELTS. There are many helpful and useful videos on the site. Check out one of these first.